Kenzie, you say it's clear that deception has taken place here, and you are calling for ITV to give Phillip and Holly the axe.
Well, I think that so many people have given so much of their hearts towards the Queen, and actually so much of their time, even the David Beckhams of this world are prepared to queue for 12 hours. The fact is that they slid in and managed to get this look and then claimed that they weren't queue jumping actually puts them in a very difficult position. And the one it really affects, to my mind, is Phillip Schofield. Now, Phillip Schofield was hired in, I think, 2019 by the We Buy Any Car ad agency. And they paid him way north of £1 million a year. Good money, actually, because the amount of work involved is minuscule. And they hired him particularly, so it's worth looking at this, because they wanted a nice image. Now, everywhere you go on television, We Buy Any Car is everywhere. And everywhere you go, you see Phillip Schofield. If I own We Buy Any Car, We Buy Any Car, I'm now in the shocking position of actually having quite a good brand, but then I've got this guy, Phillip Schofield, who's now covered in discomfort at the very least, and actually a massive question mark about whether he's telling the truth or not. So, if I own We Buy Any Car, the company, or I'm the CEO of it, I'm beginning to think this guy is not the image that I want for my company. That will also be true of Holly Willoughby. So, people like M&S and some other big brands, I think they'll be looking at them in an entirely different way. Because the thing I can't understand is that it's now letting it be known that actually the pair of them wanted to apologise, and ITV said, don't do that. Now, ITV is a corporation. I've worked for corporations, News Corporation, for instance, in which every 5 minutes I was having to apologise about something. And when I refused to apologise, they kicked me out. So that was the end. So that was the end of that. And so there's nothing wrong with an apology, but trying to kind of weave your way diplomatically through, this is the major event of this year. And for many people, for many years, it's an emotional event. And the fact that it's now become a story about two people in the show business community, not journalists, as they try to kind of pretend in their funny little way, I think they're done for. And whether it happens in the short term or the long term doesn't matter. It's definitely going to happen.
Well, yeah, because isn't that the issue, Kelvin? Let's just unpick it for a moment, right? Because actually, if they had gone on ITV on Tuesday and said, look, we were offered this opportunity because of our public profile to go and view the coffin, we decided to do it because it was a historic moment, then maybe I would have understood. They would have held their hands up and admitted what had happened. Because, by the way, lots of journalists and broadcasters have done that. Now, personally, I would never have done that. I think it would have been absolutely wrong to skip the queue, and other people have made that decision too. It was a moral choice. But the issue that I have, Kelvin, is instead what they've done is, I believe, concoct a fantasy that they are trying to sell to ITV viewers who have seen right through it, which is that, oh, no, we never skipped the queue. This was a completely different sort of proposition where we were filming for a special TV segment. Problem with that, Kelvin, they had no TV cameras with them. They had no crew with them. And they couldn't take cameras into the hall anyway. So I don't believe that it was for some special segment. There's no evidence to say it was.
The only camera that anybody had is the camera that we all have, which is our phone.
That was a little iPhone.
And they had an iPhone and a little bit of iPhone. And nobody has ever shown any of them. Normally what would happen is you'd watch two, remember, they're entertainers, show business, going in, and there would be another camera, and there would be the same camera waiting for them, coming back out again. That would be a working day. This was not their working day. They worked Monday to Thursday, 600 grand a piece each, and I bet it's a bit more than that, actually, to be honest with you. But, so it's pretty hard go for them. So they weren't working. And actually, when they came back to work on the Tuesday, They weren't showing anything. Everybody, the editor of the programme, actually, I'm sure it's gone much higher than that, the programme director, and even probably the CEO is getting involved. They said, for God's sake, don't show anything that happened at the funeral, because if we do, we are, involving these two, we are going to lead to another inquest. We don't want it. So they kind of pretended that they weren't there.